Oh shit, we're live and I didn't even run the promo. Oh!
What's up? What's up?
What's good, party people? This is Voodoo in the Woods. I'm according to Woods, and to my right or left or wherever you might be viewing this is former U of MMA champion. He is Pius Inololobo, better known as Voodoo Maximus. There you go. There you go.
Welcome back, Woods. Welcome back. Happy birthday. You know what I'm saying? Back up in
Thanks.
here, man. Let's get it.
Yeah, man, it's a weird one. I literally had the weirdest of weekends where it was my birthday, which is also my wife and I's like getting together anniversary, right? And then that was on Friday, and then on Saturday, which was a UFC fight, and then even like Friday, there was like the Jim Crashers 3-on-3 event on Fight, so I watched a bit of that. Then Saturday was the UFC, and my grandson thought it was cool for my phone to take a swim in my dog's water bowl. So I was out without a phone up until yesterday. Yeah, so Jesus Louises. It's been a deal, you know? Yeah. And Rashawn Thompson says, whatever come with it, I want it. Shout out to Rashawn. Heck
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yes. So,
What up?
my goodness, UFC 262. What say you? I mean, we've got a lightweight title bout between Charles Du Bronx Oliveira and
Mm-hmm.
Michael Chandler. Man, obviously this wasn't supposed to be the original main event. This was supposed to be Leon Edwards against Nate Diaz. Diaz had to pull out because of injury. We were also supposed to have Jack Hermanson, the Joker, against Edmund Shabazian, but that got pulled because of COVID. Alex Perez was his match. No, Perez unfortunately withdrew. And Rafael Alves against Damir Ismagulov, and that just got rescheduled, as did the Leon Edwards Nate Diaz deal. And then Christos Iagas was actually supposed to fight Joel Alvarez, but Alvarez had visa issues, so he gets rescheduled. He gets actually Christos Iagas, a friend to us all, 18-8 on his second run with the UFC promotion. And in the 155-pound division, he is going up against a 14-6 Sean Soriano. Now,
Yes. Yes.
Christos, in his time away from the UFC, he fought in Russia, and even in this kind of instance here, he's got wins over Mizuto Hirota, right? Lost to Charles Oliveira, right? Which is crazy because we're going to see him in the main event in this particular card. Got a unanimous decision over Damir Hadzovic, right? And went over Carlton Minus. He actually was the plus sign to Carlton Minus. So there's that. But on the other side of the docket, we've got Sean Soriano. And the last time that we saw him in the octagon, well, it wasn't even the octagon, because he was actually fighting at UAE, United Arab Emirates Warriors 18, just in March, and he basically had a KO, first round KO, over former UFC veteran, Noel Glott, which that's a name to me. I know Noel Glott, and the fact that you KO'd him, damn. So this will be Sean Soriano's debut with the promotion. Well, what say you?
This is a very good matchup. We have the heavy striker versus the more balanced mixed martial artist, the Spartan Christos Iagas. I see this fight standing on the feet. They're going to engage in some excellent striking. And shortly after that, Yagos is going to enter free flow state. He's going to initiate his wrestling and take over the match. And I see Yagos dominating at least two of the matches. I mean, two of the rounds, giving him a split decision win over his opponent.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that, and I think it'll go exactly the way you say. But I mean, I was going to agree with you. Just the fact that you said Christos Diego's winning. And now, nothing against Sean Soriano, but this is home team. We know Christos.
That's right.
He, much like
Yeah,
you, is a former U of MMA champion, right? So
that's right.
that's home team. So the
That's
Spartan
right.
takes this one. I don't care how it
Yep.
has to happen. Hopefully, as least damage as feasibly possible. But he gets the win, and he goes on to bigger and better things. And I'm not saying again, Sean Soriano knocked out Nodlat in the United Arab Emirates. That says something. But
Yep.
he's going to have another chance. To me, I think this is Christos' time to shine.
That's right. That's right. Christos, he's been working so hard, and I've had the pleasure of watching him develop. And he's just the ultimate fighter now, man. He's a complete fighter, and sky's the limit.
Absolutely. Now, going down the weight but up the card, we have Kevin Aguilar, the Angel of Death. I love that nickname. The Angel of Death, 17-4, and he is going up against Tucker Lutz. Now, unfortunately, the Angel of Death has had death befall his win column because he's 0-3 in his last three outings in the UFC, losing a unanimous decision to Dan Ige back in 2019. Then Zubaira Tukov, he basically got KO'd in the first round, and that was last year in February of 2020. And then the last time that we saw him was June of 2020, where he lost a split decision to Charles Boston Strong Rosa. So,
Yeah, yeah.
this, his last win coming way back, and it doesn't seem all that long, but in 2020 years, it definitely feels a lot longer than that, and especially the amount of fights that we've had from then to now, where UFC is literally putting a fight on almost every weekend, right, since July 2020. But he hasn't won since March 2019, and that was on UFC on ESPN2,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, they're on, like, UFC, not even ESPN, like, UFC on Vegas, like, 24 already. And the last time he got a win was essentially at UFC on ESPN2. Holy
Yeah,
hell.
yeah, and
Right?
that was just in 2019 too.
Yeah.
But
Seems
one
longer.
thing, yeah, one thing that I noticed about these when these losses start to string together like this, is one thing that comes to mind: the evolution of the sport. That's how fast it's evolving. If you are not keeping up with the change in time, that's simple, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, I am predicting that he's going 0-4 in this particular matchup because his opponent Tucker Lutz, he's no pushover. If you look at his record, he's been toe tagging fools left and right, toe tagging. You know what I'm saying? His only loss was I don't know, I don't even know when. You know
His pro debut, Alvin Mercer,
exactly,
back at
exactly.
Shogun Fights 13, and that was in 2015. Since
There
then,
you go. There you go.
like, he was undefeated as an amateur, fighting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, right? 8 times. I'm sorry, 8 times as an amateur, undefeated as an amateur. His only loss in MMA was his professional MMA debut back in 2015. But since then, he has been on a tear.
On a
And
tear.
one of those wins over our good friend Chase Gibson, and that was Chase's loss at the Dana White Contender Series in September of 2020. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
And but that particular fight, Chase was he was emotionally not there. But I believe that was around the time of his brother,
Right.
right? Chase Gibson.
Yep.
Wasn't that around? Yeah, around the time his brother passed
Yeah,
in a fight.
Cooper. Yep.
So yeah, he was struggling at this time. So this win for this fella, I don't really count it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. No.
nonetheless, Tucker Lutz he's coming to take heads, man. He's been taking heads. If you look at it, he's taking heads in all sorts of fashion. We got guillotine chokes in there. We got decisions. We got KOs in the first round, second round, referee stoppage. He's bringing the pain. That's what he's doing. He's bringing the pain. There's a Darce choke in there as well. You know, the only loss that he had was a KO loss. And this happens in the game. No matter how good you are, you're gonna get touched at some point. You know, it's up to you to make that change before you get got again. Now you see these people stringing together 3 fight losing streaks. If you do not change something, just gonna that L gonna keep piling up because of the speed of the sport. Now, uh, uh, Tony Ferguson, we're gonna see a change. See, he went and he changed something. Every time you're able to go in and change something, then you're able to get another win. But you gotta be willing to change something. You gotta pay the price. You gotta pay the price somehow. And if you gotta change something to pay the price, so be it. That's what's gonna bring you the W. I hope I see that.
Yeah, but you're saying you're talking about paying the price, right? Well, everybody has got a price for the $1 million man, and in this
That's right.
particular, so in this particular instance, well, the price is going to befall the angel of death because it is going to be top gun Tucker Lutz that is going to come away with the victory and basically excommunicate one angel of death from the UFC. It's going to be 0 and 4.
Unfortunately, it is what it is, man. The angel of death is gonna have to come in there and knock him clean out. He's got to knock him clean out. Otherwise, he's gonna get pieced up for at least 15 minutes if he doesn't get knocked out by the second round.
Wow. Yeah. So there's. Yeah, I feel bad for the angel of death, which is weird to say. Weird to say that I feel bad for death, but unfortunately, Kevin Aguilar, it's not going to be your night. I hope you made a shit ton of I don't know T-shirts or whatever, based on your nickname and fight moniker, because you're going to need some sort of contingency plan because
Right.
you will be exited up pretty unceremoniously from the
That's right.
UFC.
Hey, but if Kevin Aguilar is able to go out there and change something, pay the ultimate price, he might catch a win. He might catch a knockout, some submission. We'll never know. But he's got to change something. If he comes back with what he's been doing all along, he'll find himself another loss.
Yep, 1,000%, 1,000%. Which it almost spells the same, I guess, articles of contention in the next fight because we have Danger Gina Mazzini against Priscilla Cachoeira, right? Mazzini coming in a 7-4 record, ranked number 54th women's flyweight in the world, and she's going up against Cachoeira, the Brazilian, and 9-3. Now Gina, which is funny because I just saw her last win is over Rachel Ostovich, now of BKFC, right? Where she basically ground and pounded the heck out of Ostovich in what would be Ostovich's last fight in the UFC and possibly in MMA, right? And but before that, she lost to the Raging Panda, Julia Avila, Macy Chiasson, Lena Landsberg, Sarah McMahon, right? Those are some pretty big names, right? And
Yep.
obviously, she was on the Ultimate Fighter season 18, and she lost a unanimous decision to Juliana Pena, who will be fighting for a world title in her own right. So it's just like Mazzini like she's a good fighter until she gets to the great fighters, and then she falls short.
Mhm.
And I think Castrera is arguably, if not a future world champion, she is definitely going to be a contender for it. 9-3 is Zombie Girl, and we saw all of that Zombie Girl come out when she she basically KO'd Shanna Dobson, right? And talk about Zombie Girl because she was coming off of three straight losses, three consecutive losses, but that was one to the champ, Valentina Shevchenko, and she lost via rear naked choke before Shevchenko was champ. Then lost to Meatball Molly McCann, unanimous decision. Who loses to Meatball Molly? Like, usually that's usually a gimme. That's a gimme in 2020, 2021. That's a gimme fight. And then Luana Carolina lost a unanimous decision. So, I mean, she needed that Dobson win.
Yeah, yeah. And the fact that she got it off with an uppercut in the first round, and that was very good for the ego, the fighter's ego, there has been lack of confidence for quite some time, 2018 all the way to 2019 May, a long time. So for her to get that uppercut knockout win over Dobson, she's back in the game. She's back in the game, and she's gonna want to replicate that feeling of victory. There's something about it that's intoxicating. So she's gonna want to repeat it. She's gonna now that we have the arenas. Arenas are open now. We have thousands and thousands of people in the audience now. Now she's going to want to replicate another knockout in that type of atmosphere. And Gina Mazzini is her victim. Now, who do you think is going to win this one, brother?
Really, I'm going with it's crazy because I started out thinking that Mazzini was kind of in a weird state in her career and her tenure with the UFC. But to find out, even though Castrera's record is better in 9-3, and that's only by 2 fights because other than that, like they're almost identical. But Castrera is in a similar position, so I'm still rocking with Castrera. I think she'll do enough to maybe get a split decision win over Mazzini. Mazzini has never, and I don't mean it to say, be disrespectful, but to think that Gina Danger Mazzini was going to be anything but just a journey woman fighter. I don't think anybody looked, especially losing in an exhibition bout to Juliana Pena. I don't think anybody was like, oh yeah, Mazzini, she's gonna be world champ one day.
No.
You know what? This fight is so close that I'm willing to do a split with you on this one.
Okay.
I'll go Mazzini and you go Kashiera.
Castrera? Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, it's 50-50 for me on this particular match. So let's rock with it.
Yeah, all right. I like it. I'm not mad at it one iota, And we were speaking in terms of Shevchenko in reference to Priscilla Castrera, right? Because we actually have the sister of the champ, the older sister of the champ, Antonina Shevchenko, 9-2 against former Invicta world champion Andrea KGB Lee. KGB Lee comes in to the octagon 11-5 record, but talk about these kids, man. Andrea KGB Lee at the time when she entered the octagon was looking like, again, future world champ. She was a world champion in Invicta before. And, by all intents and purposes, everybody was looking for her to replicate that winning formula. But her former husband, got caught up in that racist scandal and what have you and whatever. And it just seemed like her career never recovered from it because she's got wins over Veronica Machado in her promotional debut, Ashley Evans Smith, UFC on ESPN 1. Woo, my gosh, it seems like so forever ago. And the win over Montana De La Rosa at ESPN UFC on ESPN plus 12 back in 2019. But she's lost three straight to Bad Mofo Joanne Calderwood, lost a split decision, lost another split decision to Lauren Murphy, and then lost a unanimous decision to Roxanne Modafferi, right? And then on the other side of the docket, we have La Pantera, Antonina Shevchenko, 9-2. Again, older sister of the champ, but she is coming off of a win over Ariane Lipsky, but has lost to Caitlin Chukugian, Lucy Pudilova, and lost to Roxanne Modafferi. So again, this one is another evenly matched. Like it seems like the last three fights are like eliminators because both fighters entering the octagon in opposition of each other, they're in similar phases where one more loss and they're out, and that almost seems the prevailing tale of the last three fights, and this one is no different. Go for it.
I like this particular matchup. It's a gift. This match is a gift from the UFC to the fans. They just don't know it. What we have here are two phenomenal strikers, but one of them is just a little bit better. And the Shevchenko sisters. The Shevchenko sisters, they have no life. All they do is train. All they do is train. All they do is go the extra mile. They're multi-champions from Muay Thai. You know what I'm saying? They're crossed over. Now they're adapting and becoming complete fighters, as in submission, as in wrestling, as in all these other arts that comes together to become mixed martial arts. They're getting very, very proficient in it. But this particular matchup, actually these two fighters, they have one thing in common. They've lost to grapplers. Yeah, they've both lost to grapplers. Now, because Shevchenko is a little bit better, KGB is going to have to change one thing, and that's initiate grappling. This will come as a shock to the opponent, and that will be her advantage. You know what I mean? That will be her advantage to change the tide of the match. However, I don't think she'll be successful because she's primarily a striker. Yes, she can grapple, but at this level, against her current opponent, Antonina is going to shut down all the takedown attempts and keep it standing. And Antonina, if not by knockout, will receive the unanimous decision victory just because she's a little bit better.
No, I agree with you 100%, and it's funny because Antonina, for those who don't know, she's actually a licensed pilot. That's one of the many things, aside from, I guess her and her sister and their coach Pavel, they're the shooty kind. You can see them going to ranges, all over the world and all over the country here in the U.S., going to various shooting ranges. But Antonina, in addition to doing all of that, she basically took up flying, and it's amazing because I think she's going to fly right over KGB Lee and might send Andrea Lee with her walking papers. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting match. That is my first candidate for fight of the night, by the way.
Agreed.
It's going to be glass. It's going to be glass. Hey, yeah. They're skipping the paper and going straight to glass.
Yeah, and I guess they don't want to be like Annie Lennox because they don't want to be walking on broken glass. So I'm going to say it. So that's a consensus pick. Antonina Shevchenko for the win. And again, Andre KGB Lee, she's not going to give up one iota. So, obviously Antonina is going to use every bit of her talents to try and best KGB Lee. But even still, her talents will get her at least a split decision victory, at least in my mind's eye.
Yep. I mean, if you look at it, it's a win-win situation. We have Shevchenko, who's got clout. You have Lee, who needs that clout. Yes, it's a gimme match for Shevchenko. We know she's gonna beat Andrea. We know, but if Andrea wins, she gets a nice boost. So they both win.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's got to win though.
That's the important deal. Now more than ever, wins and losses matter when you're in the disposition that, it seems like the last three fights that we talk about, 2, 3, and 4, fights of the prelims, they're in similar instances. So hopefully, everybody can get what they need done in these particular matchups. Which, speaking of getting it done, we have in the 185-pound division, we have Jamie the Nightwolf Pickett, 11-5, right? And he is going up against the Beverly Hills Ninja, Jordan Wright. Now, Jordan Wright, 11-1, literally, almost undefeated, right? His only loss was to Joaquin Buckley, and that happened on the undercard of Davidson Figueiredo and Alex Perez back at UFC 255, right? And geez, and this is somebody who's essentially been a pro his entire run, right? XFS, right? Then he goes to Gladiator Challenge, and Alaska FC, right? LFA, Contender Series, LFA, UFC. So the Beverly Hills Ninjas knows where it's at. But on the other hand, we've got the Nightwolf Jamie Pickett, and he is coming off of a loss to Tafan Nchukwi. Nchukwi, yes. Unanimous decision loss to that gentleman. And then he beat Jonathan Patty, second round KO at Dana White's Contender Series back in August of 2020. Again, I'm Beverly Hills Ninja, right? I'm not very keen to all things Beverly Hills, but here's one thing that I do know, that Jordan Wright, he trains with none other than UFC veteran Anthony Hardonk at Dynamics MMA, right, in West LA. This is, there's a tender spot in my heart for Anthony Hardonk. Way back, the very first UFC game I think there was, but definitely that I had, was on Dreamcast, and I, with Anthony Hardonk, won a UFC World Championship. So, just saying, just on general premise that he's an Anthony Hardonk guy, he basically, his wins over Gabriel Checo and Ike Villanueva, that told us everything that we needed to know about one Jordan Wright. And if Beverly Hills is what you're thinking about, hoity-toity and manicured fingers, well, he's not this. He is as gritty as you can get for a 90210 area code. So I'm going the Beverly Hills Ninja, Jordan Wright.
Furthermore, when you carefully observe each record, Jamie Pickett is one of those dudes that comes in with only striking. Only striking. He's got excellent striking. I understand why he depends heavily on striking like that. But he also has to understand that this is not Muay Thai, this is not kickboxing, this is not Lithway, this is mixed martial arts. The most complete art on the planet. He needs more tools. His opponent, however, Jordan Wright, like you said, Anthony Hardong's pupil, he's gonna have decent striking. But the thing about his striking is he's got like a taekwondo base to it or karate, one of the two, and it allows for dynamic kicks, different range kicks, right? He's doing spin kicks because of that taekwondo or karate base. He's able to. He's such a big dude, but at the same time, he spins so easily. He's got spinning knockouts. He's got punching knockouts. He's got submissions. What he's got is too much weapons, and he sooner or later he's gonna overwhelm Jamie Pickett and initiate that grappling because that will be Jamie's weakest point. He has no wins in submission. You gotta have submission wins. You gotta become a complete fighter if you want to survive in this treacherous water of the UFC. So, advantage Jordan Wright. I am siding with you on this one, sir. Jordan Wright for me as well.
There you go. That's consensus pick. There we go. So, moving on, we have Mike Grundy. 12-2 is Mike Grundy. He's a veteran of the ACB, Shuto, Bama kind of contingent. This dude has been in MMA literally since 2012. That's almost 20 years. Almost 20 years. He started out on the UK, amateur circuit, and then he made his way to Bama when they were still running shows, and goes all the way through ICE, through Shuto, through ACB, right, and then makes his UFC debut back at UFC on ESPN Plus 5 on a win, KO win over Nad Namiriani, and but he's coming off of a loss to Mavsar Evolin.
Yeah.
Right?
Remember that guy? That guy's a beast.
Beast.
That dude's a beast.
Yes, he is, right? Now, on the other side of the docket, one of the most entertaining strikers, one of the most elusive strikers that there is in the game, one Groovy Landavanada, who sports an 11-5-2 record, right? He had that war with OG Bobby Green back in August 1st of 2020 at UFC Fight Night. He's got a win over Yancy Medeiros, a tough Hawaiian Yancy Medeiros, right? Lost to Mark DeCassi, right? And then win over Marcos Mariano on the undercard of the Israel Adesanya Anderson Silva fight, or UFC 234. Right? So, yeah. And, he's talking about somebody that's tenured. He, too, has been fighting. He actually predates his opponent of Mike Grundy, because he actually edges him out. He started his amateur career in New Mexico on February 25th, 2011. So, Groovy Landavanada has been in MMA for 20 years. Legitimately 20 years, this guy.
Yeah. And the thing about him is he was part of that group that brought in that new striking, that more fluid striking, that dynamic striking, those kids that we talk about that grew up in the gym, he is one of them. He's like one of the first ones. So we got to see him get in there against Tony Ferguson and have a phenomenal match. Almost even knocking out Tony Ferguson, I believe, with a head kick. But then Tony being Tony, he just started breakdancing. I don't know if you remember this fight.
Yep.
He was just breakdancing and evading breakdancing. I was like, what the? But that right there, I believe, was fight of the night. I can't remember. But he ended up falling to a Darce choke. Yeah, he fell to a Darce choke that time, but what a fighter, man. He's got everything you want in regards to striking. The kicking, the spinning, everything. Everything is on point. His grappling is even on point. But what we're going to see here is he's going to bring it to Mike Grundy. He's going to bring that spin game to Mike Grundy. Is Mike Grundy able and capable of handling such dynamic striking? This will determine if he stays conscious or unconscious. You know what I mean? Or will he be able to initiate the ground game and take away Groovy's movement? We don't know. He's from England. Do they have very good grappling in England? Huh? That's the question.
Eh,
Is he
eh.
affiliated with a very good grappling based school? We will find out. But I'm going with Groovy, nonetheless.
I like it. No, and I was there at UFC 209 to see Lando in action, and that was, the stuff that he was doing on that night. I was just like, man, that was, yeah, it was the loss to David Tamor, but even in the loss, I mean, it was a fucking dogfight. That yeah, it was a dogfight. So Jeez. So you mentioned the fluidity of Lando Venata, right? And that is absolutely true. But also, these two, both Mike Grundy and Lando Venata, are tenured young vets, right? Theoretically, 20 years in the game for Lando and Mike Grundy, 19 years in the game, but rapidly approaching 20 years in the game, right? Well, what happens to liquid when you let it sit? Or if you mix it with something else, like a cement, right?
Mm.
The fluidity with something, like a cement, like a flour. Well,
Mm-hmm.
it gets sticky. It
Yeah,
gets clogged up, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm just thinking because of what we saw in the latter part of Anderson Silva's UFC tenure and MMA tenure, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was everything like that. This unorthodox matrix like striker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all it took was a errant KO punch by Chris Weidman, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that ended up being Chris Weidman, into my kind of assumption, his undoing, because after those two fights with, you could argue that obviously Anderson was never the same, but also we found out that Chris Weidman was never the same, right? So with that all being said, I definitely have Rondo as well. I think this is a consensus pick. But what if, right? Rondo does it unorthodox, whatever, and he can evade 175 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
But miss that 175th time. You know what I'm saying? And it could
Yeah.
land clean on the chin. And
Mm-hmm.
we know of Michael Bisping, Dan Hardy, all these English fighters. You were talking about. We don't know about the grappling prowess of one Mike Grundy, but
Mm-hmm.
those Englishmen. They hit fucking hard. They hit fucking hard, and Lando might try to
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and then but the engine, right? The Ferrari isn't the same. 20 years down the road than what
Mm-hmm.
you did when you drove it off of the showroom floor. It's almost like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm picking Lando officially, much like you, but I'm just thinking, what if? What if?
I get you, man. There's a chef life, man. There's a shelf life to it, right? That fluidity. It doesn't stay forever. You know what I mean? You got to use it while you got it. I totally understand. I totally understand. That's why I never stopped training. I've been training since 14 years old. I never stopped. You know what I'm saying? So I totally understand. I totally understand. But if he takes the same path, he'll be able to prolong that fluidity for quite possibly for the rest of his career. But he's got to stay in the game and he's got to stay sharp. He's got to like kind of like GSP. GSP was one of those dudes that believed that it can go away, and he wasn't really fluid moving, but he knew that. So he did things that improved his fluidity, such as gymnastics and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and track and field. You know what I mean? So he was honest with himself. He knew he didn't have that natural athletic fluidity. He developed it through gymnastics. So if Lando can continue to do these things that are different, that keeps his fast twitch muscles going, he'll be able to maintain that speed.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like it. And that's, I think this one is going to be a fun fight. I
Hmm.
this might even be another fight of the night contender because it's just, to me, there's a question mark on this one. Like I don't,
Hmm.
like I might say I know, but I don't really fucking know, and that's where fights are fun to me. So, man, I can't wait for this one. Honest to goodness. Now,
Me too, man.
now speaking of things that we can't wait, holy hell! I never thought there would be a time where Ronaldo Jacare Souza, multiple time Jiu-Jitsu world champion, a Strikeforce world champion, 26-9, but I never thought he'd be on the prelims. But hey, it has happened, and that year is 2021 because Ronaldo Jacare Souza has been at it literally since 2003. 2003, his first fight against George Martino at Jungle Fight in
Hey,
September 2003. I'm sorry.
Jacare was part of the Strike Force contract that they bought when they took
Mm-hmm.
out Strike Force. Yeah, he's been there since the end of Strike Force. Quite a while. He's a veteran of the UFC and Strike Force.
Yeah, but even
Hey,
before that,
did
he
he
was a
hold out in both?
yeah, he was a Strikeforce world champion for sure.
Yeah, yeah. But he didn't hold the UFC belt though, right?
No, I think he challenged. He challenged. But I want to say either Tim Kennedy or Robbie Lawler for the title. I can't remember which. But that happened. Um, yeah, but it's been an up and down deal for Jacare. Unfortunately, lost to the Joker Jack Hermanson, lost to current champ Jan Blachowicz, and lost to crazy ass fucking Kevin Holland. That fucking punch, that punching up during his scramble that fucking knocked Jacare the fuck out. Man, it wasn't
Exactly.
fun. Yeah, wasn't fun at all. But Jacare will be facing a Brazilian, 20-4, Sergipano Andre Muniz. Muniz, last man, that oh shit, this dude hasn't lost since Azamat Muzakhanov,
Hmm.
where he lost through a first round KO at the United Caucasian Fight Championship. One. I'm not making that up. That is really a thing. A United Caucasian Fight Championship, and he fought on the
That's,
first incarnation of that
that's
that promotion.
that's got to be in the mountains somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Why?
And he
You
fought
just
Hazmat. He fought Hazmat Murzakano. That sounds like Khabib's town or something like that.
Khabib Town. Wait, are you implying that the only place where Caucasian folks could unite and fight is somewhere in the fucking mountains?
Something like that, man.
You might be right. You might be right, bud. You might be right. But with that all being said, he hasn't lost since then, right? That
Yeah.
actually is, yeah. I mean, this dude has been at it since 2019. I mean, 20. I'm sorry, 2009, where he faces and beats Ari Santos. But he
Hmm.
has, since 2009, he has been at it, and he has wins. Just the last three wins, right? All on the
Hmm.
UFC, right? He basically was on the Dana White Contender Series twice. Back the first time back in 2018, where he got a unanimous decision over Bruno Assis, but didn't get the contract. Right?
Hmm.
Returns
Hmm.
returns a year later, literally almost to the day. There was only like,
Hmm.
yeah, like 260 days or 360 days from his last appearance at the White's Contender Series, and he beats
Hmm.
Taylor Johnson with a rear naked choke in the very first round. That basically cements his place in the UFC. He faces Antonio Arroyo, where he beats by
Hmm.
unanimous decision.
Hmm.
Bartosz Fabinski beat by armbar, and that was his last
Hmm.
win, right? And he does that very first round back in 2020, right? September 2020.
Hmm.
I hate to say it, but it's not going to be pretty. But I think the younger Brazilian will best Jacare. Jacare goes to sleep. He becomes chum in the water for Andre Muniz.
Mm. This is a favorable matchup, and it's a very good matchup for Jacare. Actually, the kid is good. He's very good. He's primarily a jiu-jitsu artist. Jacare is phenomenal at jiu-jitsu. So they're gonna nullify right there. Jacare is gonna have to stand with this kid. This kid has 90% or 95% finish ratio as a jiu-jitsu artist. And armbar, rear naked choke, armbar. He's got a KO punch here and there, but guillotine choke, triangle choke, guillotine, darts, arm triangle. So he is a grappler or jiu-jitsu artist. You know what I mean? He likes to submit. That's his primary tool. If Jacare, I noticed Jacare, he had been working on his striking. If he keeps it standing, I think Jacare can beat this kid. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, I really think so. It's just 15 minutes. If it was 25 minutes, then I would think twice. But Jacare is older than the kid. I don't see the kid submitting Jacare, and there's nothing on this record that tells me he's gonna handle Jacare with striking. I see the kid trying to submit him, and all Jacare has to do is defend and get back to the feet. Do not engage him on the ground because that is his best weapon. You know what I mean? Make
Yeah.
him stand with you. That's what I would do if I was Jacare. Make him stand and make him fight on his feet where he is least comfortable. And that will be Jacare's edge to get the match. He might not get the knockout because he's a lot slower than he used to be,
Right.
but his striking is good enough to get a split decision. So I'm gonna go Jacare on this one. It's either or, man. It's either or.
Yeah.
The kid is young. He's younger and he's good, but Jacare has a plethora of knowledge, but he's older. So they kind of meet for me 50-50. So I can split this one with you, no problem.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Muniz, but I mean my heart says Jacare. I
Hmm.
for everything that Jacare has brought, given, and earned to the sport.
Hmm.
Fuck. Okay, how
Yeah, I
about
know.
this? Spiritually, I'm I'm going to go with Muniz, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Actually, it's vice versa. So in my mind, I know Muniz is gonna win. In my mind,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
but my heart is telling Jacare. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick with you. I want Jacare to win. But we sit here on Sunday or Monday when we do the post fight show and go like, oh shit, we fucked up, whatever. That could absolutely happen. So, but yeah, not publicly. I'm not gonna. I love Jacare. Jacare is amazing. So the fucking I was doing that shit back in Strike Force. I was doing the whole fucking Jacare, dude. Like I was with it. So who took that hook, line, and sinker.
Hey,
So shout out to Jacare.
hey, hey, my boy, Blackman. He loves Jacare, man.
Wait,
That's his guy right there.
the Lethal Weapon, Steve Blackman?
Nah, Drew Black. Nah, my boy Drew.
Okay, Drew
Shout out
Blackman.
Drew. Shout out to Drew Blackman.
Shout out to Drew Blackman. And if you have a uncle named Steve, he might be the Lethal Weapon. And get that motherfucker on the podcast, because just saying, I'm with it, with it, with it. And Alex Ramirez says Jacare needs Joshua Fabia if he wants to make a comeback. Holy fuck! Oh,
Hey
fucking
man,
yeah.
hey, people are losing their minds over this guy. This guy has single-handedly captured the souls of all these people that are talking about him. You know what I'm saying? This Fabia guy. Of course, of course, there's something wrong here, right? But then he's getting way too much attention. They're all mad at him. Fabia has captured Diego's mind. He's this and that. Everybody's upset. Why you let this Fabia guy upset you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Why are people so mad at Joshua Fabia? Fabia.
Yes, he's a bullshit martial artist. Fucking.
He's a dumb shit.
That's what that guy is. Have you heard him talk?
Like, I mean, Helen Yee, good God, like, she tried to get a good fucking podcast out of him, and he was just jibber jabbering some bullshit. Like, I couldn't believe. Yeah, so that's it. And then he fucking, what is he gonna fucking rub Diego in fucking KY jelly, hang that motherfucker upside down, and fucking just Puerto Rican slapbox the shit out of him? The fuck ass? What the fuck are you doing? I don't know. I don't like it. I don't fucking like it, man. That's what I know. I don't fucking like this guy. I don't. Dude, I'm longing for the days of fucking Conor McGregor touch butt in the fucking park, dude. That looks way better than whatever the fuck this is. I'm just saying.
Oh my goodness. Oh, hey, Diego. He signed up for that. Diego signed up for that. And if that's what makes him happy, so be it, man. It ain't for me. But if that's what he's happy with, hey, man, shout out Diego. You've put in work. I mean, he's one of the first Ultimate Fighters ever. You know what I'm saying? He has been with this company for some 20 years or more. He's a Hall of Famer, man, in my book. Diego is a Hall of Famer. I hope the UFC don't hate on him and keep him out of the Hall of Fame. The dude is a Hall of Famer, even though he kind of, I mean, he's evolved quite a bit. He was a nightmare in the beginning. Then he turned into that yes character. You know what I'm saying? Then he changed again to this guy that he is right now. It is what it is, man. The man is constantly trying to reinvent himself. It just so happens that this latest strategy that he's running with Joshua Fabia might not be the best strategy if he wants to continue fighting.
I mean, you saying changing up the game and different looks and everything like that, but it could also be fucking bipolar manic depressive. You know, he could be schizophrenic, this guy. I don't know. It's just, I can't condone any of this shit because it's bullshit, man. I swear to God. I swear, you know. So I guess moving on, because we're going to get to, there's a similar Diego Sanchez situation, at least what I see, and a little bit further in the card, but we'll get to that. If you came to Dance Mama, we'll get to that.
We're going to get to that. But we have Shane Burgos, 13-2, or Shane the Hurricane Burgos, or Hurricane Shane, whichever way you want to do it. There's a hurricane in his name, and his name is Shane, and it rhymes, so I get it. But 13-2 is Shane Burgos, and he's going against Edson Barbosa, arguably the most highlight reel fucking KO finishers that the UFC has ever had. You know, kind of joining the likes of Uriah Hall and whoever else knocked the fuck out of people that I can't remember right now. But, fucking Yves Edwards. A fucking crazy ass kick, man. And Edson Barbosa is right up there. But in the instance of Shane Burgos lost a unanimous decision to Josh Emmett. But before that was fighting a 3-fight winning streak, that coming over Kurt Hollowbaugh, which never heard of that guy, but apparently he fought in the UFC, much to me not even fucking knowing. But Kurt Hollowbaugh, right, as a win over Kurt Hollowbaugh. Cub Swanson, you know that Cub Swanson that was like, hey, everybody that fucking talks about MMA should fucking fight, but his wife doesn't fight MMA, but hosts like fucking 12 shows in the UFC. But whatever, Cub. Fucking just saying. CTE must be a thing. And a win over Makwan. I'm hot. I'm fucking hot about it. Salty forever. Call me beef jerky because my ass is salty forever. But wins over Makwan Americani, right? Now on the other end of it, we've got Edson Jr. Barbosa, right? Not to be confused with Jose Jr. Aldo, I guess, right? But Edson Barbosa got his soul stolen. He was the fucking Undertaker when Habib went to town. Habib stole Edson Barbosa's soul, never to be fucking seen again, man. It was fucked up, man. I was watching that on the undercard of Chris Cyborg, Holly Holm. It was just fucked up, man. Like, Edson Barbosa had no fucking chance. That fourth round, and he's looking at his coaches like, yo, nothing? Nothing?
he's
Like
like,
this.
he's like, hey, he was like, what, what is Sammy Hills going on here?
I didn't even know they had Sam Hills in Brazil, but fuck yeah.
And hopefully that Sam Hill is named Junior, like Jose Aldo and
Hey,
Edson Barbosa.
I felt bad for him watching that match, man. Get it taken down, and he can't get up.
Yeah, that shit was a life. That was a life alert. It was a fucking life alert commercial. I've fallen and I can't get up. That's what that shit was. Good God. Sorry, God. I was thinking about the ghost of Paul Bear going to summon his ass back up, but that shit never happened. It was like, oh, yes. And it was like, oh no, bitch. Your ass getting buried in cement just like Paul Bear did. Oh, what the fuck. Wrestling is fun. But yeah. Yeah, man, fucking, it's been a while since fucking Edson Barbosa. So, lost to Habib, lost to Kevin Lee, beats Kevin Hooker, Kevin Hooker, what the fuck? Hangman Hooker, but then loses to Gaethje, Paul Felder, Dan Ige, and a win over Amir Kwani. Ah, man. To me, I think this is Shane Burgos' fucking fight to win. Pardon the pun, not to be confused with the
Jiu-Jitsu competition, fight to win, right? But I think
Shane Burgos, man, this is Edson Barbosa is a name, despite what the last fucking 6 fights will tell you, because he's like 7. He's like, what, 2-5. Yeah, that's it. He's 2-5 in his last 7. Right? I think this is if Shane Burgos doesn't KO Edson Barbosa, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And furthermore, Edson Barbosa used to fight at lightweight, 155 pounds. He's gone down to 145. In the beginning, that affected him in my eyes. When he fought what's his name? Paul Felder.
Mm-hmm.
He lost to Paul Felder. I thought he won that fight against Paul Felder. After that fight was when he went down, and then he faced Dan Ige.
Yeah.
Dan Ige, I believe, lost that match as well.
Yeah.
I don't feel Dan Ige won that match. And the reason why he's losing by split decision, that change, shrinking his body to a lower weight class. But I believe he's since found the balance necessary, which is why he was able to look very good against Makwan Americani. Shane Burgos is going to be a tough matchup. Tough matchup. But I really strongly believe that because of the level of competition that Edson Barbosa has had, if he's able to move really well and not fight in a Muay Thai manner, engage some angles, I think he'll be fine. I mean, look, man, he's fought Paul Felder, he's fought Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker, Kevin Lee, Khabib, Benil Dariush, who was fighting in this particular main event, co-main event or whatever. Gilbert Melendez, Anthony Pettis, Tony Ferguson, Paul Felder again, Michael Johnson, Bobby Green, Donald Cerrone. I mean, he's been down murderer's row a couple of times and back. Everybody on his list are known names. You know what I'm saying? So he's got that mental edge in this particular one. The Shane Burgos has a ferocity, and he's got very good power, and he's a complete fighter. But it seems to me, if Barbosa can stay calm and not engage him head on, I believe if he engages Shane Burgos head on, that he will lose. I think he will lose because the kid Shane Burgos seems to be stronger, and he was already at 145. He's already established at 145. You know what I mean? If he plays it smart, initiates some complete mixed martial art grappling every now and then, I think he'll be fine. So Edson Barboza for a split decision. I'm going that way.
Okay, I like it. I think Shane Burgos beats the fuck out of Edson Barbosa, and I'm not saying that as any disparagement of Edson Barbosa, but like it's one of those live by the sword, die by the sword. I want to say like the soul of Terry Edom after that fucking wheel kick is like it fucking summoned Shane Burgos to beat the shit out of Edson Barbosa. Right? Like that's it. He's just like, I command thee, and fucking turn him on, you know. So that's what I think. But I you could be right. I mean, in terms of, I was watching The Embedded, right, and I forgot like, you know, Edson Barbosa fucking speaks English, man, and he hits me like Amanda Nunes. Like they're just fucking lovable. They just, you can't help but just fucking love them. So I in my mind's eye, I want Edson Barbosa to win, but I'm gonna pick Burgos. You know, I'm just saying.
It's a smart choice because his style is very complete. There are no holes in his game. You know what I mean? But every man has a weakness. Barboza, if he does his homework, he'll see the weakness and yield when he has to. It's like Bruce Lee said, when my opponent contracts, I expand. When he expands, I contract. And when there's an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself. He's got to just become free flow. If he goes head up against Shane Burgos, he will lose. That's what I feel. He's got to yield when he has to and be solid and attack when he has to. He has to follow the opportunities and no headbanging.
Yeah, wow, you almost described exactly what the fuck is going on with the whole AMC versus the hedge funds and fucking Diamond Hands. So this shit will be on tomorrow. Diamond Hands unite, to the fucking moon we go. Shout out to everybody that's got AMC. But I digress. Alex Ramirez says, I assume the UFC had no choice but to cut Diego in order to save their ass in the case Diego does something silly. UFC don't want to be liable, but obviously he has brain damage. 100%. 100%. And there's something very similar. You say that, Alex. Something very similar that's going to be happening. One of the featured fights of the card, but we'll get to that. So, as we're kind of trudging away, we've got Caitlin Chikugian against Viviane Arujo. What the fuck is going on with my lips? Don't know. But it's weird to say after Chikugian and getting that right, and then I want to say Araujo, but it's not. It's Arujo.
It's all
That's what I
fucked.
would say too. Arapa.
Yes. Yeah.
Arapa.
And then just my dyslexia, it's saying arriba, which is not even remotely Portuguese or Brazilian. So I'm all fucked up, man. But we have the blonde fighter. Yeah, the blonde fighter. 15-4, Caitlin Chukugian. And last time we saw her, she basically got a unanimous decision win over Cynthia Calvillo, but has lost to former champion Jessica Andrade, Antonina Shevchenko. She beat, but she lost to Valentina. It's funny. Lost to the fucking champ sister, but beats the older non-champ sister. Wins over Jennifer Maya, unanimous decision over Gerard Calderwood. Man, she's been in here for a while. Which, funny enough, up until her fight with, it was a recent fight. I want to say like Antonina. It could even been Valentina. Like I didn't even know who the fuck she was. To be honest with you, I mean she's been here since UFC on Fox, right? UFC Fight Night 91 was her debut back in 2016, where she beats Lauren Murphy. But
Yes.
honest to goodness, like before the fight with Valentina, I couldn't pick fucking Caitlin Chukugian out of a fucking lineup, man. I didn't know she even
I totally
existed.
understand. I totally understand. I didn't know who she was too until you gotta separate yourself from the pack, man. This is a business. It's not like honorable. Not that it's not honorable, but don't come over here looking for honor and all that, man. You gotta come here looking for money. You know what I'm saying? Looking for that opportunity. Dana White says it himself. This is not a job. This is an opportunity. You know what I mean? Listen to the man. Listen to the man. Come for your opportunity, snatch your opportunity, and make something happen with it. You know what I mean? People are so comfortable in this state. They're not trying to like step out, improve that mic skill, for example. Step out of the line, so people can see you. Like bring attention so you can build your platform. Chukagian needed Shevchenko lost and Tonina to really, really boost herself up and get on that level. Everybody else that she fought before that, Jennifer Maya, Joanna Calderwood, Jessica Ott, nobody knew. Nobody knew until she fought Valentina, like you said. I totally agree with you. And then now we're paying attention just because of that Shevchenko name. You know what I mean? So she needs to thank those two ladies. But then she also went in there and did what she had to do, though. Yeah, she did lose to Jessica Andrade, that body shot, that hook to the liver.
Mm-hmm.
She took it too, man. I remember that. She took it. She took it. She took it. She tried to fight, but it was over with. It was over with. But then she went in there against Cynthia Calvillo and out grappled her. And now she's got this Brazilian, man. The Brazilian herself is no pushover. She's quite talented. Quite talented at 5'4", 126 pounds. She's been in there doing things. The last person she toe tagged was Roxanne Modafferi, and remember this fight, man. Oh my God, Roxanne her face was. We haven't seen Roxanne since this fight. That's how bad this Viviana is. And then she toe tagged Montana De La Rosa as well, unanimously. Unanimous. She lost to Jessica I, right? That loss right there was unanimous. I think was mental. It's one of those, ooh, Jessica I, evil eye. You know what I mean? She lost to the persona rather than focusing and beating the fighter that is Jessica I, the person. But well, she was able to turn it around. She was able to turn it around and then bring the heat, man. Last two fights were quite impressive, and I believe she's gonna come in here and attempt to do what she has to do. But it's gonna be a lot of grappling from Chukagian. She doesn't like to get hit. She doesn't like to get hit. She likes to nullify individuals almost immediately. She's gonna bring a heavy grappling game. take that fight to the ground if necessary and submit her opponent so she can preserve herself. And I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. She's really not a striker. Even though she's capable of striking, she's really not a striker. I believe she's going to initiate that striking game almost immediately, like she did with Joe. The champ, 126 champ. What's her name again?
Shevchenko. Yeah.
Yeah, like she did to the Shevchenko sister, uh, Antonina. So if she can get a good hold of Viviani, keep her down, she will win this match unanimously. But if there's a good sprawl there, takedown defense, some good hands and feet, Viviana can win. So this one, it depends on who imposes their authority
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So this is a 50-50 match for me, man. Well, what say you?
I'm gonna go with Aurora. Just because.
Okay.
Now it's gonna be for Aurora to win. I think the only way she wins is if she knocks Chikugian out. That to me,
Yeah.
because Chikugian has better grappling, right?
Yeah.
She
Can
can.
lay and play on her for the better part of 3 rounds and eke out a unanimous decision win. So
I think Arujo has to fucking knock Chikugian
out,
out.
but once that
I
happens,
totally,
I think she secures herself a victory.
I totally agree with you. It will have to be separation from consciousness for Viviani to win this one.
Yeah. So I think you want to say that's a consensus pick, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
I'll split you on that. I'll split you on that. I'll go
Okay.
50-50 on that. I'll take
I'm not.
2K you.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. I was kind of hoping you would.
Okay.
And it was weird because she was saying on the embedded. I've
Hmm.
consistently been the top. Within like striking distance of the title. For the last like 3 years or whatever. But like again, we don't even know who the fuck you are, man. That's I don't know. It's weird. It's so weird. Yeah. But speaking of not so weird, we have the 15-5 Matt Schnell, right?
Hmm.
Matt Danger Schnell, who's coming off
Hmm.
of win over Tyson Nam. Unfortunately, lost to Alexander Pantoja, but has wins over Jordan Espinosa, Luis Smolka, Nakoya Inoue, and Marco Beltran. Right? He's a Ultimate Fighter alumnus, dating back to Ultimate Fighter season 24, and that was in 2016. And even in there, he kind of fought Tim Elliott and Rob Font and Hector Sandoval, which I think is fun because those three, aside from Sandoval, were the mainstays in that division. But he's going up against Rogerio Bontorin, and Rogerio is coming off of 2 straight losses, one to Ray Borg and Kaikar France, right? The Ray Borg was a unanimous decision loss, and Kaikar France pretty much just KO'd him 5 seconds before the end of the fight back in March of this year, right? But has wins over Rolian Paiva, Magomed Bibulatov, right? And basically beat Gustavo Gabriel by rear naked choke standing back in 2018, right? For me,
I'm going with the Brazilian.
Rogerio Bontorin.
Hmm. Another situation where not really sure what's going on. You know what I mean? I'll split you on that. I'll split you on that. Uh, both of them seem to have very good uh, submission game. Brazilian, lots of submissions. This guy right here, lots of submissions as well. But he is with American top team, and I'm going to assume I'm gonna bet my money on that wrestling game at American Top Team. I'm gonna bet my money on that to be the difference maker in this particular match. Yes, the Brazilian is going to be very good in jiu-jitsu, Well, I'm betting on wrestling in this one. I'm betting on wrestling. It's gonna be a split decision win for Matthew Danger. Chanel.
Okay, that's cool.
50-50.
Yeah, I'm not mad at it. Like I said, it could go either way. Actually,
Yeah.
you said it, not me. This could go either way. Um, so yeah, man, it's there you go. That's it. I don't think it's gonna be a fun fight. It's just
Nah.
in terms of the placement of it, there's so many other fights that could have, the female fight.
Barboza fight.
Yeah, the Barboza fight. What was the one that you were saying?
Lando Vaneda.
Vanada, yeah, or that your pick for the first fight of the night, the Danger Mazzani versus Priscilla Cocheta. That could have also been here. I just
Yeah.
the placement is just weird to me, but
Yeah.
yeah, kudos for them. Yep.
Shevchenko and Andrea Lee
hmm
have been up there too. All
Yep.
qualified.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know, just weird. But they know what they're doing, right? They match fights. That's one of the reasons why we have the ESPN Plus, where a lot of us may or may not fucking pay that, $80 price point. We will see. But yeah. And then also we forgot to, as we were getting into the co-main event of the evening, we forgot to mention this is taking place at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. This will be the second consecutive UFC pay-per-view. And removed from like the Vistar Arena 2 weeks ago where they had the full capacity crowd in Florida. Well, this one will also have a full capacity crowd in Houston. So it's going to be mad, absolutely mad, But speaking of shit that goes mad, we have the main events of the evening. We have former UFC interim champion Tony El Kukui Ferguson against Benil Dariush, right? Tony Ferguson, 25-5. I guess I'll go through his accolades, but most people know El Cucui's accolades. Has beaten Edson Barbosa, beaten Lando Venado, beaten Rafael Dos Anjos, former champion, beaten Kevin Lee, beat Anthony Pettis, beat Cowboy Cerrone. But he was on a 2-fight skid over Justin Gaethje. He basically got beat by Justin Gaethje for the title unification bout, right? And it wasn't even for the linear title. It was for the interim. Like this is a battle of the interim champs, theoretically speaking, right? Because Gaethje won Tony Ferguson's interim championship, and he also had. This is almost like the WrestleMania 10 ladder match where both guys had a legitimate claim to a title, but that title being the interim title. But it was getting defended more than the actual title. So who's on first? Literally, it was weird, right? But this one right here, so that's Tony Ferguson. On the other side of the docket, we got Benil Dariush, and Benny is a King's MMA, a stalwart. Has wins over Diego Fiera, Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman, Drakkar Klotz, Frank Camacho, Drew Dober, Thiago Moises, Rashad Magomedov, James Vick, lost to Michael Chiesa, lost to Edson Barbosa, but wins over Jim Miller, Michael Johnson, Darren Cruikshank, that's a name I haven't heard in a while, and lost to Ramsey Nijmegen, right? So, buddy. This is a battle of OC. This is, where is it? Yorba Linda is where Tony Ferguson lives, right? And then Huntington Beach and Benil Dariush. They're two OC guys, Orange County, California guys, that are essentially here fighting. Now, before I go into the win, I will say,
as much as I'm a fan of Tony Ferguson, I do not like this fight. I don't like him. I don't like the idea of him fighting. And remember how we were talking about Josh Fabia and Diego Sanchez and whatever the fuck witchcraft and whatever the fuck is happening there. Well, Tony Ferguson. It's not hyperbole that his wife basically had to get a restraining order on him because he felt like there was people, listening and talking through his walls. That's a fucking problem, man. Like, to me, we saw all the signs of, obviously, the aforementioned Diego Sanchez. Even more grim, we saw all the signs with Chris Benoit.
Mm-hmm.
CTE is a real fucking thing, man. And, again, the talking through the walls, that's a sign of CTE, where the paranoia, right? That disastrous Brett Okamoto interview. I'm just scared for Tony. I really am. Like, I don't want him to take another hit to the head ever. Not in sparring, not in training. A fucking potato chip fucking falls off of his cabinet drawer and it fucking hits him in the head. I don't want it. Because he's a father, he's a husband, a businessman. He basically created his own gym, Snap City, out there in Orange County. I just don't like the idea of him fighting. And the crazy thing about it is, Beneil Dariush, he's the guy he shouldn't be fighting. Beneil Dariush has nothing to lose. And obviously, he has some names that he's beaten over the course of his career, but nothing like Tony Ferguson. There's only 5 people alive today that can say that they beat Tony Ferguson. But there's been 25 people that have fallen prey to him. So that tells you everything you need to know about him. But the way that I see it, Beneil Dariush neutralizes all the fucking crazy shit that Tony Ferguson does. Because we saw it. We saw it in the Gaethje fight. Right? We saw it in the Oliveira fight. Tony Ferguson can be neutralized in a way that I didn't think was possible. That's why the fight with Khabib was so tantalizing to us hardcore fans and even casuals, was the fact that you just fucking didn't know. Nobody pushed pressure like Tony Ferguson, but then nobody could apply pressure like the former champ Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? That's what was so intriguing. But Beneil is that guy who's got nothing to lose, everything to gain with a KO over Tony Ferguson. Now, with Tony Ferguson fucking getting KO'd, it breaks my heart because, again, like I said, there's mental stuff that's going on. Now, and I'm not at all saying, fuck Tony Ferguson. I love the dude. One of my greatest moments, just being on the scene, is being there at a 10th planning party with him coming in, bringing his black belt on over one shoulder, the one given to him by Eddie Bravo after he won the UFC title, and him basically acknowledging his black belt more than his interim title. And me and one of my friends who is actually a member, Gabriel Castillo, who's a member of 10 Planet West LA, and he's a member of the 10 Planet family. We hadn't seen each other since, I want to say, 5th or 6th grade, and Jiu-Jitsu reconnected us again. And on that night, Tony Ferguson puts the UFC title on both of our shoulders, which, again, was an amazing moment, not just professionally, but personally. That was the actual UFC title, and a guy like Tony Ferguson fucking bestowing that to us. Couldn't get any better, right? So I'm not saying this out of spite. Tony Ferguson, and the few interactions that I've had with him, has been nothing but a gentleman, so cool, kind heart, all of that. But I don't want to see any of that go. So I don't like this fight. I really don't, and that's not because I don't like Tony, not because I don't like Benil Dariush. Dariush, we've got a lot of friends that train with or train around Dariush. Also a good guy with a baby on the way. I just I don't like the fight because I feel like I know the outcome.
This one, this one, it's a tough one, like you assessed. But when we look at it, both gentlemen are on their way out. So there is no physical advantage here. Neither one is not way younger than the other. So they wash over there, right? Striking wise, um, Benil, very good, very very good. Tony, he needed to make some adjustments, and he did something different, right? He initiated the help of that boxing coach, that really good guy. I forget his name.
Ooh, we're not talking about Pirillo, are you?
No, 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 no. That Manny Pacquiao's coach,
Oh, Freddie Roach.
Freddie Roach. He went back to Freddie Roach to fine tune something that he used to do now that he doesn't do anymore, which are those straight shots. He's bringing back the straight shots. This is what I see. He's gonna initiate pressure like he used to, but this time he's gonna follow the straight shots. Those ones and twos are gonna be plentiful. You know what I mean? And then the hooks are gonna come. These two guys, as far as I'm concerned, are evenly matched. Benil Dariush has been fighting killers all his life as well. He's been in the UFC for quite a long time. He just hasn't had the exposure that he needs. But I think Tony Ferguson's wrestling gives him that toughness edge. You know what I mean? That's why he would never ever retire. He would never stop. You know what I mean? That edge is going to help him out in this match. Because the pressure that he's going to bring is going to be on relentless. You know what I mean? Benil Dariush, congratulations with the baby. But I think it's the biggest distraction for a fighter. Too much emotion is given away towards the baby and its mother. And emotionally, he's at a deficit. This is a very, very important piece when it comes to winning a match. That emotional distraction will wear you down. I've been there. It's real. It's very real. He might want to lie to himself and say, hey, man, I'm fine. It's a lie. It's a lie. I mean, his wife is going to be having a child within weeks. You know what I'm saying? And it's been weighing down his mind for 8 months plus. Now he's going to fight. I believe he is at a deficit emotionally. But I think Tony Ferguson, because he had able to string together so much wins previously, I think he can tap right back to that. And I believe he's going to edge out Benil Dariush. I think he's going to force Dariush to fight his fight. I believe he's capable of doing that. He's going to get Dariush to fight his fight, and he's going to sting him. Dariush might go out. Possibly
What?
no later than the third round. Yes, I see Benil Dariush getting knocked out, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I see.
Wow, that's
Who knows
yeah,
when
dude.
it happens?
No, I mean, I like it, man. And you put, I just fucking don't know, man. Like, especially after Tony's wars with Oliveira, because you remember, fucking Tony Ferguson was the boogeyman. Look no further than this guy. This guy, not Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan saying that he's the boogeyman. He's the fucking person that you look under the bed and he's there and it fucking scares you and haunts your dreams. Fucking changes the trajectory of your career. But he was proven invincible. Not invincible, vincible. When, when
But the thing
after the
is,
last,
but the thing is, he strayed away from the boogeyman. Those two losses, he strayed away from the boogeyman. He didn't even look like himself.
right?
He wasn't the boogeyman. Those two fights. I believe he has refound that boogeyman that you speak of, and we will see him come Saturday.
Mm, okay. So you got Ferguson.
I got Ferguson.
All
Knockout in
right.
the third. Pressure.
I
Pressure.
I'm gonna say the same deal, but the only thing that I will change is who wins, because I think
Fair.
Benil Dariush. I think the odds, not so much the odds, but I just think maybe a momentum is
Hmm.
just in his favor. I feel it. I could be completely
It's
fucking
fair.
wrong. Yeah.
It's fair. It's fair. That's a fair call. I will split you on that. No problem.
All right, I like it.
Hmm.
But speaking of splits, we are at the main events of the evening. This one for the UFC lightweight championship, right? 155-pound championship. We have Charles Du Bronx Oliveira, 30-8, going against former Bellator MMA World Champion, lightweight champion, Iron Mike Chandler. And this one, man, it's fun because I don't. These two guys, I wouldn't want to fucking grab a drink with them one iota. They're not my type of people, right? Michael Chandler, I love that he adopted a son of color. His name is Hap. I don't know if that was the name he came with or whatever, but just Hap. HAP. Not happen, not happiness. Just Hap. Hap Chandler. Okay. Man, it's just weird. For me, this is more of a historical deal. I want, much like Gaethje did with the World Series of Fight title and the interim UFC title, to come over. What Eddie Alvarez, this is it. Eddie Alvarez and Michael Chandler are the godfathers of what Bellator MMA is. If not for their trilogy of fights, like to me, the Bellator Lightweight Championship was the premier, lightweight championship. And again, you think about who was UFC lightweight champion at the time when Alvarez and Chandler are having these fucking wars. It's a fucking name. But to me, I think Bellator's lightweight championship just edged out in terms of relevancy and importance. It just edged out the UFC title of the same weight class, right? But these two guys,
Agreed.
like I said, I'm not. Oliveira annoys me. Chandler also annoys me. But I want Chandler to win just because, again, he's this conquistador. He comes over, wins gold. Won the Spaniard Archuleta, won like what 4 championships in King of the Cage. Comes over to Bellator, loses the first chance at the title, but comes up
Hmm.
with the second one. I just love that, right? I just love people because we're taught the narrative that the UFC is the end all be all. Well, when champions
Hmm.
come over from other promotions, they're sometimes looked at as less than. And
Hmm.
Chandler winning the UFC title, that actually
Hmm.
strengthens the Bellator title because that is a title that Chandler held on multiple occasions.
Hmm. 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 Very true. Very true. Very true. This fight here is very, very well thought of and well put together. Uh, Michael Chandler did a phenomenal thing this past year, 2020. He came over. He put himself in a situation where he was at the beck and call of the company. Same strategy as Conor McGregor. He did the same thing. See, when you give yourself to the company in the beginning, they reciprocate. We saw that with Conor McGregor. The more he gave himself to the company, the more they gave him favorable matchups,
Yep.
all the way till he got to the title. You know what I mean? They never really put him in there against legit grapplers. And the one that they put him in there with had 2 weeks notice or something ridiculous, 6 days notice or something ridiculous like that. And Chad Mendez, look how well Chad Mendez did that first 2 rounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then he got tired.
Right.
But bringing it back here, the key to victory here is pressure. Mike Chandler, is he equipped with the gas tank, with the control, mental control necessary to bring the pressure to Charles Dubronx and break him? He is more than capable. He is more than capable. When Dubronx initiates grappling, does Michael Chandler have what it takes to defend against the grappling? Oh, yes, he does. He's got that good old American wrestling. Now, the thing about that good old American wrestling is it's like driving a 5.0, a big body V12 type engine. You know what comes with that? It takes a lot of gas. It's high performance and it takes a lot of gas. Now, does Mike Chandler have 25 minutes of high performance in him? We know he can bring high performance, but can he do it for 25 minutes? The thing about Mike Chandler is, at Bellator, that's all he did is for 25-minute matches.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even that good then. Now, I believe he has found that center. He has found that snap. That's why he's knocking suckers out left and right with one punch. You know what I'm saying? He discovered how to steal time,
Yep.
steal distance. He closes the distance in a deceptive manner. I mean, look what he did to Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker is not the one to be messed with, but look at what he did to him. Look at what he did to Benson Henderson. He snuck it in there and turned off the lights. Sydney Outlaw snuck in there and just out. Patricia Pitbull did that to him. But understand, on the feet, Mike Chandler is going to dominate. Dubronx has gotten much better with the striking. See, that's something he had to do as well. Dubronx had to go in there, you know what I mean, after he lost to Paul Felder and Ricardo Lamas, Anthony Pettis. These are Max Holloway. These are pressure fighters. They bring that dynamic striking, but they bring pressure. They keep moving forward. Now, the grappler is on his heel. If he cannot stand his ground and move forward, he won't be able to get the takedown. And then he's there, standing there, taking a beating. But since then, he has improved his striking a lot. You know what I mean? And even though he still prefers to win by submission, if you watch his highlights, you will see that his striking is up to par now, you know? I mean, he's winning by right hands. He's winning by overhands. You know, he's piecing people up. He's piecing people up, and that's good. And it's going to make for a phenomenal main event. But when you break it down, I believe the pressure that Mike Chandler is going to bring to Charles Dubronx is going to be too much. This isn't a favorable match for Dubronx, in my opinion. Dubronx would have done better against a Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
You know, Poirier he brings pressure, but it's not as ferocious as Mike Chandler. And I believe Mike Chandler is going to land a heavy shot that's going to shake Charles Oliveira Dubronx. And I believe Michael gets it done in the fourth. Stoppage.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Because here's the thing, Charles Oliveira is definitely not somebody that's easy to put away and that's disposable. But again, Chandler, for the better part of his career, has been a champion or chasing the title in main events, fighting 25 minutes, where he's doing here. And I think, as I saw him saying in Embedded, it was just like, this is what I do. This is what I've done my entire career. So there's no nerves and everything like that. So, and he's looking about legacy, not just the fight, not just becoming champion, but cementing his legacy, which is something completely different. Yes, I'm not sure what Charles Oliveira is fighting for, but when you got a guy who already knows he's probably got, maybe 5 fights more in him, right? Like, he's going up against a greatness. He's going up against himself in Michael Chandler. So, yeah, man, Chandler, and like I said, I don't think I'll be, going to the watering hole with either of these two dudes. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm making my pick because I like it, or I like them. I'm obviously I don't know them. I'm judging just by the Embedded or whatever. But it was cringe-inducing. It reminded me of every motherfucker that I would get into a fight with or whatever when I was in school. That's what they remind me of.
And for the record, if someone wants to say, but aren't you the one that always says those who come from third world countries tend to have that edge, you know what I'm saying? Because of poverty, they want to win more. Well, you need to understand, even though Charles Duranx comes from a third world country or second world country, definitely not first world country. We understand that. We see him at the Amazon often, his hometown. He is a rich man.
Yeah.
He is a rich man. You know how many bonuses that man has won?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not only does he get win bonus, he gets submission, performance of the night bonus. So for someone who comes from where he comes from, he's very wealthy. So he doesn't have that edge anymore. He doesn't have that third world, second world edge anymore. Now he's a first world individual living in a second or third world country. That's what he is now. He's well taken care of now. He doesn't have to struggle to feed his family anymore. He feeds his family. All that is all taken care of. That stress is gone. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he comes from Brazil, Amazon, whatever. But understand that he's the man in his town. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how Ngannou is now the man in his town. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
There is no more stress on this man. And the same can be said for Chandler. There's never been stress for Chandler because he lives in a first world country. I don't care how you slice it. Oh, but my parents were poor. But you're poor in a first world country.
Right.
There's a difference.
Exactly.
If you go to the ghettos, the worst ghetto here, the living situation here in America, it's better than some of the third world countries. You go to Haiti and see true poverty. You know what I'm saying? You go to where I come from and see true poverty. There's American ghettos, quote unquote. It's good living compared to some of these places around the world. Understand that. So Chandler as well, no matter what he says, I don't even think he comes from a low income household, at least a middle class household. He's never he also doesn't have that advantage. You know what I'm saying? So, but one edge that he's bringing to the table is that grind, that wrestler's grind. You know what I'm saying? Only wrestlers have it. Only wrestlers. And Tony Ferguson, this is why Tony Ferguson will fight to the end. You know what I mean? Because of that wrestling toughness. And wrestling does something to you that tweaks your mind. You know what I mean? And it's a great asset. It's a great asset to anyone who has a wrestling base crossing over into mixed martial arts. It's a great asset. It's an asset that only they have and no one else.
Yeah, agreed. So, shit just hits different, You might want to go to war, but again, this person is fighting literally from their belief system versus you. You think you know what war is about, but you have no idea. So yeah, man. So it seems like a consensus pick, even though, right? Even though, you know, it sounds like we were going to go with the Over because of the third well or whatever, but we're actually doing the complete and utter opposite, and we're going to go with one Michael Chandler to win his first UFC title. And to me, I think this is I would say it would be a unification bout, but Chandler actually is coming off of a loss in a title fight, right, against Pitbull, right, of the Pitbull brothers. So
And
there's that.
furthermore, Mike Chandler winning is good for business.
It is.
It's good for business because he understands the game.
It's Dana White privilege.
Exactly. He understands the game. The fact that he's able to attempt to rock the mic. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? When he beat the last Hooker, when he beat Hooker, and he got on that mic and he did what he did, he let the UFC know that he's willing to go wherever they need him to go to represent them. McGregor did the same thing. Hey man, looking at the script that McGregor wrote, it's not a bad thing. Don't hate.
Nope.
It's a system that works. Grab that mic and practice in the mirror, man. Talk.
Yeah.
Learn to speak to your audience. If you learn to speak to your audience, learn to speak in front of an audience, they will reciprocate that energy back to you, man, and give you support. But if you cannot sell your product, to the audience, why do you expect them to buy anything from you? You know what I'm saying? And that's what Duke Bronx has done. He's been there how long? How long has he been there? And he only has Brazilian fans.
Yeah.
Why? Because he refuses to learn English.
Right.
Look, man, you want to make real money? This is another reason why it took so long for him to get there. Tony Ferguson, he speaks English. He tries to rock the mic, and it was still difficult for him. Not to talk about a guy that doesn't speak anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But now he's there. He has an opportunity to change his life yet again. But it's going to be a tough one. Mike Chandler.
Yeah, Chandler. So I think that's it, man. That's UFC 262. Thank you guys for joining us. This is a late one. We're burning the midnight oil and what have you. But Voodoo, for people to find out what you're doing, where can they find you, good sir?
Oh, man. YouTube, Voodoo Maximus. Facebook page, Voodoo Maximus. Instagram, Voodoo Maximus. Twitter, Voodoo Maximus. It's too much to follow, man, so I only use those 4.
There you go. And I'm according to Woods on all of the 4 things that he said, but also Twitch. That's another one, right? According to Woods across the board. But for Voodoo in the Woods, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to Voodoo in the Woods on Facebook and YouTube. And we will see you here with post-fight UFC kind of aftermath. Sometime after the fight on Saturday. So enjoy the fights. There's a lot of them. Shout out to all of our friends, George Garcia, Alondra Brown, the Kyrgyzstan guy fighting on the LFA. That's going to be fun. So that's tomorrow night, or actually a few hours from now. So a lot of fighting, a lot of fun, and you guys be good with all the craziness of the world. Just be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll see you here with Voodoo in the Woods.